Donald Trump bombarded Clinton over her emails last night, but he spent just as much time rejecting anti-Semitism charges for his tweet showing Clinton and what appears to be what is a six-pointed star.
When they told me the Star of David, I said, you gotta be kidding. How sick are they? Actually, they're the ones with the bad tendencies when they can think that way. They're the one. Then they said, remember what I said, but there's money around the stars. And therefore, you know what that represents. These are sick people. They're bad people.
Trump tweeted yesterday, quote, "Where's the outrage for this Disney book? Is this the Star of David also? Dishonest media." Clinton replied, "Do you want to build a straw man?"
Peggy Noonan is a CBS News contributor and Wall Street journalist. She joins us here at the table. Peggy, welcome back.
Hello, guys. Good morning.
Morning.
Is Trump missing an opportunity here, focusing on this star issue rather than pointing out what happened with the FBI not recommending charges against Clinton?
I think he probably misses an opportunity by not running a tighter ship. He shows up, he speaks for, I don't know, is it an hour and a half now? He's getting to Fidel Castro lengths. He is sort of discursive and abstract. You never know where he's going. You would think after Mrs. Clinton had such a bad day with Jim Comey and the FBI that he would focus on that and hammer, hammer, hammer. Instead, he sort of gets more diffuse. But I think what you just saw there with Mr. Trump was something that he does that has a power that we don't notice, and that's he tells his audiences how he is experiencing things, how he thinks about things.
Why does that matter?
That means there's less of a scrim between him and the audience members, and they hear him sort of say, "This is my interior world. This is what I'm thinking about. This is what I think is really important at this moment." And there's something sort of maybe almost intimate about it, whereas Mrs. Clinton, on the other hand, does not share her interior world and doesn't give you how she's experiencing things.
Right. So the question, Peggy, is, so for all the people who say he misses all these opportunities and that the ship isn't being run very tight, that doesn't seem to be reflected in the polls.
You know, the polls are tighter than you might expect at this point, with Trump having had a bad maybe 6 or 8 weeks, and Mrs. Clinton up until the past week having glided along, having won her party's nomination. I think that tells you there is quiet Trump support out there that may in the end be surprising.
But he keeps having his VP shortlist get longer because people keep dropping out. There's like this weird accordion thing happening.
Yeah, he's doing a funny thing with his vice presidential possibles, which is his campaign seems to be telling the media who they're considering, and then some people drop out, which doesn't look good. You should always be discreet about vice presidential possibles, you know, sort of keep a little bit to yourself, not parade them out there,
But
not
he's not doing
possibly
that at all.
embarrass them. I know. It's an unusual way to proceed. Somebody said it's a little bit like the Apprentice. You know what I mean? It's like
It's an unusual year.
Yeah, it's indirection and surprise.
What do Republicans gain by putting Director Comey on the Hill to testify? What do they gain from this?
That is such a great question. Well, part of it is that they can't let it go, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
But it's interesting that they asked him immediately after a statement the other day, will you come to Congress? And he said, sure, how about Thursday? So that's interesting. Maybe he wants to talk a little bit, too. What can they get? Comey made his indictment the other day. He said, this is the data and evidence we have, and we are not going to go forward and recommend any sort of prosecution. I think the obvious question for today with Comey is, why? Tell us your internal monologue. What is it you are thinking? Why would no reasonable prosecutor go forward on this case when there seems to be so much evidence? So I think how he thinks may come up in a big way today.
It's going to be fascinating. Peggy Noonan, thanks so much for being with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Jamie.